Hi there, and welcome to Your Wee Gems. We're going to be talking about introverts plus extroverts equals perfect team formula. And I'm going to look at introvert and extrovert leaders because I think there's a big myth. I know there's a big myth around about introverted people not being good leaders. Introverted people not being able to stand up and take the lead. And that actually is extroverted leaders who believe that because they're not like them. However, we have many examples and I'll go on to explain. So I'm going to look at, can introverted people make good leaders? I'm also going to look at, are extroverts better leaders than introverts? And the last thing I'm going to look at is, what are the benefits and drawbacks of each style? And then we're going to look at introvert plus extrovert equaling that perfect team formula. Okay. So first of all, let's start with, can introverted people make good leaders? Well, I'd come back and say, can anyone make a good leader? And this comes back every time to leading me. You can be a great leader if you know yourself and you are leading you first. Because as I say, leading me is about leading me to be the best example to all around. So if you're in business, that's the people that surround you. But in life, just as much. So sometimes people will be great to follow because people follow rather than being led. We've become hooked on this. I lead the people. No, we don't. People follow us, and they follow us in our bad habits as well as our good habits. So we have to look at, what example am I setting? And am I setting the example that I want people to follow? And also, is it the best example for myself? Is this feeding my soul? Because if I've just become who I've become because I've read some books or someone said I should do it this way, then you're not being an authentic leader and you're not being authentic self. And it's coming back to, do I know me well enough? So there's the first part. Do you as a person know yourself well enough? Because when you do, you sit in that middle ground of leading me that I often talk about. That's where we are we're responsible for our ego and where it is. Our ego can be running riot either to the right or left of us, as the Leading Me ladder of leadership shows. And it actually shows that we are either in this side of bigging it up. So, one side of you is bigging it up, then the other side of you goes to belittling, so this belittling side. If that's the case, and you are moving from belittling to bigging and bigging it to belittling, you're moving really from control and judgment to blame and victim. And you're missing the middle part of leading me. And that is being responsible and also coming into the middle and being balanced. Okay. So can anyone be a leader? Everyone is a leader of themselves to begin with. And then others, no matter who they are, if it's a friend group, if it's a group of people that they are part of, they're part of a tribe of people, like a book club, or, wherever you are a leader of yourself. And it really depends on whether you've stepped into that or not. So that's the first part. Introverts have so many amazing things to add. Right? And the problem is sometimes extroverts can't see the benefit of that. And what I often see is there tends to be a lot of extroverts in sort of middle management. And sometimes you get some introverts that have come up through the ranks and gone or made it through. Are they any better than each other? Absolutely not. But the extroverts don't see how good an introvert can be, and sometimes that's the same for an introvert, going, they're just too noisy, they think too quickly, they just go too much. Okay, so can they make good leaders? Absolutely. because we only have to look at the people around who have been around. If we go back in time, Rosa Parks, that iconic civil rights movement leader, where she was quiet, she was impactful, she resisted, she went against the racist segregation by just sitting. Now, that's introverted at its best, because she actually didn't have to do anything that was shouting and this should be and we're fighting against. It was actually all about leading from the middle ground of, no, this isn't right, and I'm sitting here. Boy, did she have an impact on the civil rights movement way back. Wanted to interrupt this content to let you know what exciting thing is happening in March. If you are in and around Scotland, or you can get there, then move heaven and earth to make sure that you attend this transformational event. Are you stuck, frustrated, overwhelmed, need to make changes in your life or work? If so, we have what you need. We are bringing the Leading Me programme to you. If this doesn't resonate with you, then don't even bother to click the link below for details. However, if you need transformation in your life, then you need to do this for yourself. We have decided to offer 40% discount to those who take action right now. So click in the link below and it will reveal this amazing transformational offer. Look forward to seeing you there. Back to the content. And then we look at somebody like Bill Gates. And these people, I'm not looking for you to agree or disagree and you liking the person or not. This is introverted leaders, okay? Bill Gates, who is very introverted, co-founder of Microsoft, philanthropist, author. He's an intellect in leadership. And he's very introverted. Then you've got somebody like J.K. Rowling, who, again, very creative, very introverted nature, but comes up with, an amazing series of books called Harry Potter, right? And other things that have come from that. Very introverted women. Doesn't mean to say that they don't say anything or don't do anything, but in nature, they're introverted. Then you've got the Warren Buffetts of this world, amazing, chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, so known for being calm, thoughtful, his approach to investing is extremely thoughtful. So he is very introverted in a way. He doesn't need big blingy things to make him the billionaire he is, okay? And as I say, it doesn't matter what you think of these people or like them or not. I want you to get that balanced view of these are people who have made it in this world as far as, what others look as a success as well as themselves, okay? And then you've got somebody like Angela Merkel, who was a former Chancellor of Germany, known for a calm, analytical leadership every single time, known around the world, got together and with great minds around the world to do lots of things. Again, it doesn't matter whether you agree with her politics or not. It was the calm way she went about things. She was introverted. She wasn't all about me. And yet, she was the Chancellor of Germany for a long time and actually decided to give it up as she moved on. And then, of course, we've got Mark Zuckerberg, who, co-founder of and CEO of Facebook, very introverted style, doesn't particularly like the limelight. So all of these people have made it to the top, if you like, in leadership. So can introverts be good leaders? Yes, they can. Doesn't matter whether you like them, whether you don't. They make leaders, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're an extrovert or introvert. Second question that I said I'd come to was, are extroverted leaders better? There is no such thing as an introvert or an extrovert being better as a leader. Again, it's back to Leading Me. So when you look at the differences, and I do want to look at the differences of the styles, if you like. So let's look at the people who are more extroverted first. When you look at them, they are usually quite focused on the directness of what they want, what they're looking at, what they do. So their strengths are really in being determined and directive, if we're looking on an axis of, how assertive they are, they can be really assertive, which, of course, then makes it sound as if they're the ones in the room that you hear the most from. The other side of that is that the strengths of the introverts are really about factual accuracy, thinking. They take their time. They're very risk averse, whereas you get the extroverts that are very risk takers. Then you've got the thinkers, the introverted thinkers. They think really deeply on, whereas the extroverts are really surface level but broad, right? They go broad on a lot of things. The extrovert is very verbal, whereas the introvert, their communication styles are much better written. And when I say much better, they're very good orators as well. It's not as if there's a this or that. When we actually shift ourselves and flex in style, we can become the opposite of, right? As a extrovert, I can become more of a thinker. As a thinker, I can become more verbal, right? So it's not that we're stuck in that, but that's our preferred state, okay? There's the decision making, the introverts need a lot of supporting data. They want to consider a large amount of information. They want to avoid the risks. They'll slow things down, but that can be for the best of a project or things that are going. The decision maker, who is the extrovert, are quick to decisions. They see the big picture rather than the detailed. They can ignore the rules. They take a lot more risks. So there is strengths, and may I add, there is also the sort of drawbacks, if you like, of both styles. So are extroverts better leaders? There is no such thing. But each leadership style, or I would say it's not even a leadership style, to be honest, it's a social style. If you've ever done, or people are looking for more information on this, Myers-Briggs, which was based on Jung's work, his wife and daughter took Myers-Briggs to the world, and it gives you an idea of what you are. I remember many moons ago doing Wilson Learning right at the beginning of my sales career, and it was a great step for me to understand that there was more people in this sort of square that was split into 4 squares, and these people acted differently, and there was introverts at one side, extroverts at the other, and I was blown away by this because I thought that people thought like me. So this was like mind-blowing that there was people thinking completely differently to the way I thought, but it helped me as a person growing. It helped me to start to know me and become aware of me. There's also a thing called DISC. Many, many tools around the world. Just go and look up social styles. There's books on it. There's all sorts of things. But it certainly helped me in my life when I became more aware of me, what style I was, and what other people around me's style were. I could then start to flex my style, because very much when I was younger, my style was my way or the highway. I was right. Didn't matter what you said. I took risks. I was there. I done it. See, I was right. It was all this. So as I've talked about before, in leading me terms, I was bigging it up a lot of the time. But the thing about this leading me ladder of leadership that we're on, we live in a world of polarity. So when we are one side, we have to go to the other. And I made myself ill by being here, but that's because I kept myself in bigging it. So the belittling was where I made myself really ill, and I went into victimhood, as much as I hate to admit it, and I became depressed. Okay, clinical depression. Many moons ago, may I add, and I've never gone near it again because I've kept myself on the straight and narrow by working on the tools that I have to bring me back into centre. So who are the best leaders? Well, actually those who can flex their style even more, that they embrace their own style, and that is introverted leaders embracing their style and then embracing those around them who have extroverted ways. So surrounding myself with introverts and extroverts was definitely, when I started building teams, I was looking for people that I was missing in the team who had certain styles that I needed. Because if I have an overbalance of introverts versus extroverts, that can be a bad situation, and vice versa, because we might not do very much and we might be just analysing the data because we, paralysis by analysis, or we may be running ahead before we've even dug deep to whether this can happen or not. So again, it's back to leading me that I talk about the balance. When we're in balance, and that means with the people around us, and particularly with us in here, that can make the best leadership of all, when I can flex my style and keep myself out of the movie that I've talked about. I want to be out of that movie to make sure that I am seeing everything around, everything. Not just what I'm watching as far as the movie's concerned, but I can see everything around. And also being in the movie at times to go into some detail, right? So there's nothing wrong with being in the movie, but remember, when we're in the movie, usually our egos are running riot. So we want to master, in leading me terms, mastering the ego is coming out and just having a look at what we've done. So periodically coming out and looking and getting, if I'm a deep diving person, getting somebody who big picture, who comes in and sort of looks at it. First of all, they may be overwhelmed by detail. So it's bringing it up a level that they're able to see what's there and what works for them to be able to take the bits out of it. But they can see it in a bigger picture and how that will all link up. Or if you're a big picture, taking it to someone and saying, fill me the details in so that I can actually see that this is going to work really well. So the other thing about working with people is introverts and extroverts. Extroverts can sometimes miss the detail that someone is showing body language in their face, what's going on. Introverts take a lot of time to get to know people, but by God, when they know them, they really know them. So the least wee thing, they'll be quiet. They'll be sitting, watching and observing. You might think they're not taking part, but my God, are they taking part? And they may be seeing and understanding nuances that the extrovert isn't. So it can be a wonderful thing to have your opposite around you, keeping you right and asking them, so what did you see when we were sitting there at that meeting? And vice versa. So this isn't just one side looking at the other. If you've got people in that, you will hear amazing things that you never saw, heard, were able to hear, because that's not how you see the world. It's not the lens you see the world in. It's, again, balance, coming back to balance. Get people around you that aren't your style, as well as people around you who are, but don't dismiss them because they are a certain style. As I often say, it's your kryptonite that is their superpower. So if you're an introvert, your kryptonite will actually be the power of that extrovert. If you're an extrovert, your kryptonite's the power of the introvert. And by that, I mean an introvert's deep dive thinking, excessive data can stop them from moving on. Whereas that bigger picture view and that risk taking can be really helpful from that extrovert coming into that project with you. Okay. But again, vice versa. You might, as an extrovert, be quick, run on, big picture. It's actually that introverted ways you want to just drill down in some of the detail and make sure you've covered everything you need. So who's better? There is no better. If you can help yourself to move along the axis of assertiveness and responsiveness, and that's sort of the DISC model, then you can actually help yourself come more into the middle and more into that balanced sector. And again, it's back to leading me. If I'm leading me in the best way and going to my superpowers, but bringing in somebody else's superpower where my kryptonite creeps in, that's all the better. When I'm building teams, I love to have introverts around me, but you've also got to remember, as well as it's the kryptonite and it's their strength sometimes, if we're not in that balanced leading me, and I'll refer to that again, if I'm bigging it up or I'm belittling and I'm not in that centre ground of leading me, oh my God, my ego can run riot about them and they're taking too long, and oh my God, that's really bad, or oh, they won't even look at the data, it's really crap. So play to their strengths. Know what they are. Go and put yourself on a course or find somewhere that's got some training people that will come in and talk to you about, your people and what they are and what you may be misbalanced on that you need in. So there is no better leaders that are introverted or extroverted. I've shown the introverted today because we build up the extroverts for some reason, because we think, as in the media thinks, that extroverted leaders are the better. It's their own bias, because a lot of them are extroverts that are putting it on. So you may like the way they do things, but the other ones get things done really well too. So there is no such thing as a better. So introverts plus extroverts equal perfect team formula every single time. Okay, so make sure you are, if you are one of those, that you can try and move along that axis and get yourself into that middle ground where you're doing some more of the dive in, but also working to your genius areas, but bringing those people in who really do help you make it happen. Okay, so introverts plus extroverts equal perfect team formula. There is no such thing as one being better than the other. So have a look at yourself, get to know leading me more, find out what you are and what you need around you, and you'll soon find team-wise it becomes better and better, and everyone around you lifts you as a leader because they're following you. Okay, so you need to know me. That's what leading me is all about. You have to make sure that you know you through leading me. Okay, so as always, for me for now, stay true, stay you, and keep bringing out your brilliance. Bye for now.